traffic that is basically not being logged in any type of analytics. And this is kind of the hidden traffic. And this dark traffic constitutes about 80% of the entire ad block traffic. This is much wider than what people think. And there's about $200 to $300 billion of ad revenue missing because of the ad blockers. And this is the market that we would like to really help publishers kind of gain back and address this very target audience.
It's a percentage of traffic that you're not even getting access to. And you're creating that content but consuming it, but you're not getting any value add, and you don't even know that. So that's kind of a very shocking point. And I think in the days where search traffic is going down and traffic is actually going down for publishers, this is something that they would definitely want to look into.
To look at some of the numbers from the server side versus what you see in the Google Analytics, I think that people do recognize and do report to us that they do see a pretty big difference. Obviously, it varies by different publishers, but typically people do see a pretty wide difference, and that is basically what we attribute as dark traffic.
Welcome to another episode of Web Without Walls, where we explore the shifts reshaping ad tech and publisher revenue. Our guest today is someone who has spent years thinking deeply about how the open web actually works and where it quietly breaks. Dustin Cha is the co-CEO and co-founder of AdShield, a company focused on helping publishers recover lost revenue to ad blocking and poor user experiences. Before founding AdShield, Dustin worked across finance, strategy, and technology, which gives him a rare perspective on publisher economics, user behavior, and the unintended consequences of how monetization decisions play out at scale. His work often challenges the industry to look past surface-level fixes and rethink fundamentals like trust, time, and value on the open web. Excited to dig in to Dustin's perspective on where publishing is headed and what needs to be changed for the open web to thrive. Dustin, welcome to Web Without Walls. Let's get into it.
Great.
You spent quite a while in ad tech. I'm personally interested in how you got into ad tech. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and journey for the audience?
No, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that I am, I'd say that it's been about 4 years, so a relative newcomer to the industry. I have a pretty interesting / strange background. I used to be in finance for a while. I started out as doing investment banking or M&A work on Wall Street. And I also invested in public equity stocks at a hedge fund. So it was a pretty different thing that I've done. But at the same time, I always wanted to do my own thing. And basically one thing led to other. And I am currently in the ad tech space. I mean, the origin story is very funny, right? Because not many people know, but we actually started out as an ad block company. When we first started, we were on a crowdsourcing platform, and we asked people what product people wanted the most. And the number one product or the feature or service that people requested was basically an ad blocking service. That's why we developed it. And voila, we had a very effective one. But what we have realized is that when we were servicing it, we were actually seeing some publishers that we loved, like the websites that we loved visiting, were shutting down. And when we dug into it, we basically realized how much of a harm that we were doing to the publishers and the websites that we loved. So that actually prompted us to basically pivot into and flip the business to do the other side and help publishers basically address and monetize the ad block traffic. And, it's been about 4 to 5 years since I've done that. And the rest is history.
Right. That's interesting. Why were you on a crowdsourcing platform asking people what to build?
We wanted to be the ultimate, kind of the classic startup route, right? I mean, we wanted to basically start with the product that people really wanted, right? We had a lot of ideas, but we also wanted to make sure that people, we develop something that people want. So that's kind of how we started.
That's interesting. So you went to a crowdsourcing platform. People said build an ad block products. Are you a developer? Like, how did you guys decide? Like, oh, ad block is easy. Let's start with that. What was the
Yeah, I
rationale
mean,
behind it?
I think that's a great question. I mean, me myself is not a developer. My partner June, who heads up product and engineering, he is a developer, and obviously, certainly not the app blocking. Developing one and running an effective one is definitely not an easy thing. But we were able to do it. I mean, specifically, kind of probably it's a little bit more detailed than what I should share. It was a little bit more focused on YouTube. So people were requesting to block ads on YouTube. So that's kind of that was our focus back
I
then.
see.
But also we kind of expanded to kind of the websites and stuff. And basically that's when we realized, some websites were kind of shutting down because of us.
That's amazing. And did the product grow and was it successful? And how did you guys get that option for the ad blocker? Was it the same crowdsourcing site?
Yeah, I mean it was pretty successful. We were able to get, couple $100,000 in like just a few months, and it was pretty very successful. But we quickly realized that that was not something that we wanted to build and that we wanted to run for the long term. So, we decided to basically shut it down, notified our users, and basically pivoted to the app block recovery.
Interesting. And how long ago was this?
That was about 5, 6 years ago.
Okay. So 2020, pre-COVID or just after COVID, right?
Right. Yeah, 2019, 2020.
Amazing. So let's get into how ad blocking has changed because like I've been in the industry since 2013, 2014. And my understanding of ad blockers were it's mostly web traffic and people install as a browser extension and then they block ads. And when the traffic shifted to mobile, ad block was not that big of a problem because majority of the users are browsing on a mobile browser or coming through social, and it wasn't a major thing. And even if it was specific to certain verticals. Okay, maybe developers or people who are savvy enough to install ad blockers because they're not interested in seeing ads. That used to be the general sense of ad blocking back in the day. And when I talked to you, you gave me a completely different picture of ad blocking, and I'm calling this the ad block 2.0. Would you mind explaining what ad block 1.0 and what it was in the past when you guys started or just before you started, and what it is today, and what is that you solve for?
Sure thing. So, I think that you've kind of laid the ground a little bit there, but I think that, there's been a, fundamental shift in what had happened in the app blocking landscape. So, the app blocking 1.0, what we call it is when, there was a lot of press about, ad blockalypse. And that was around 2015, 2016, about 10 years ago, when there was a certain fear throughout the publishers to basically address the app blocks and how we're going to address the app block as an industry. Back then, there was really a very few number of app blockers, and mainly there were two leading app blockers, AdBlock and AdBlock Plus. Then they commanded about 70-80% of the market share. And back then, those app blockers were pretty much relatively more respectful of what publishers wanted to do. So what does that mean? That means that they allowed them to collect some of the analytics. They were allowing some of the whitelisted ads. They were allowing some of the consent management systems to run. Fast forward, I think that in 2025, we've seen a dramatic change in the industry and in the ecosystem. There's been a plethora of different ad blocking tools that has kind of come into the market. And I think that there are a few key drivers of that, and I can kind of dive into those a little bit more later. But basically, fast forward 2025, we do see kind of what we call as the dark traffic, which is basically the traffic that is basically not being logged in any type of analytics. And this is kind of the hidden traffic. And this dark traffic constitutes about 80% of the entire ad block traffic. So this is the traffic that most publishers are really not aware of. And obviously we're kind of at the forefront of educating kind of the industry and the publishers about this. And number two, that these is audiences, a valuable audience that people are really not able to address or monetize at this point in time.
Interesting. And I mean, if I were to summarize based on our previous conversation, what you explained, AdBlock 1.0 was mostly user initiated, and AdBlock 2.0, you're saying there's more traffic where ads are getting blocked on those traffic, but it's not even user initiated. It's not even because of poor or bad experiences. Is that the right way to put it?
Yeah, I think that there is we were very surprised as well. I mean, a big chunk of this dark traffic is basically driven by kind of the IT level or network level blocking. What does that mean? Users, the end users or the visitors, didn't necessarily have had the choice or they didn't have an option to block ads. Rather, it was being done. It was done by the external parties, whether it be the kind of the IT departments or the the institutional Wi-Fi's of the world, and they're basically blocking kind of the ad requests from going out from the network level as a kind of the cautionary measures. So that's a big chunk of the dark traffic. Obviously, I wouldn't just say that those are the only drivers of increasing of this dark traffic. I think there is obviously you see it every day, right? Like you read it from a lot of news articles saying that some of these AI, companies are developing or introducing browsers with the ad blocking functionality as a default. For example, Perplexity's Comet browser is one example. Another example would be that the users have been a little bit more cautious about their privacy stuff, right? So their data, right? So with the rise of the GDPR and users kind of much more focus around their data privacy, I think that there's been a good amount of kind of adoption by the users to basically use these type of services. And this doesn't necessarily mean that they have installed the ad blockers, but even when you install like a VPN product, some of these VPNs would have a bundling product with the ad blocking functionality already bundled up with the VPNs, right? So with users using different types of products and services to basically protect them against some of the data leakages and privacy concerns, that is also kind of contributing to the growth of this dark traffic.
So it's a mix of like user initiated, or like they're not even aware that it's happening because they bought a VPN and it's also built in that block, or it's the IT blocks, which was the most interesting thing that I heard when you mentioned this. So I want to dig deeper into why you call this as dark traffic. So are you telling me as a publisher, if I had like, let's say 10 million page views, you're saying I have more page views, that I might have 12 million page views, but I'm not even seeing that in my Google Analytics? Is that why you're referring to it as dark traffic?
That is correct. I mean, that is typically kind of the numbers that we see. We do see the GA4 or the Google Analytics does not necessarily capture all the traffic that these websites are getting. And that is because some of these ad blocking tools are basically blocking and removing the tracking or the measurement scripts.
But even analytics.
That is correct.
Even analytics. So that is actually crazy. So you're telling me I might be actually having more page views than what I actually see. Would I be able to see this in Cloudflare? And given Cloudflare is actually
sure, if you
content,
take a look at some of the numbers from the server side versus what you see in the Google Analytics, I think that people do recognize and do report to us that they do see a pretty big difference. Obviously, it varies by different publishers, but typically people do see a pretty wide difference, and that is basically what we attribute as dark traffic.
Interesting. I want to talk a little bit about, like, how did you guys discover this? Like, this is a new segment. Nobody's talking about this, that there's this dark traffic. Was this something that you encountered when you actually built the AdBlock product, or was this a segment, or was this an opportunity that you guys saw while you were doing the AdBlock and you figured most of the traffic was this and then decided to build a recurring products? Do you want to share your story with the audience as to what was the interesting insight that made you guys build your recurring product?
For sure. I mean, I think that it's really both, right? So when we were servicing the ad blocking product. I think that we also recognize that there were some pixels and the trackers that we were potentially blocking. And we were, kind of researching around what the other ad blockers were doing. And what we have realized that some of the more aggressive or militant ad blockers were basically removing all those trackers altogether, right? And you'd be surprised to hear that some of these aggressive ones are even removing any type of cookie boxes, right? Consent boxes or the CMP boxes, right? And as to basically not even giving users the choice to, have an option to select what they want to opt in or opt out, right? I mean, obviously they kind of go into kind of terms and conditions and kind of assume that the users don't want any of that. And some people just kind of reject all on some of these CMP boxes automatically. I mean, that aside, that is probably a little bit too much of an information. But yeah, so when we were researching these, I think that what we have discovered is that a lot of these ad blockers were already kind of blocking and removing a lot of these pixels and the tags that a lot of the kind of the ad verification vendors or the publishers kind of consider as very much of a critical component of their ad serving experiences. So that was one. And then as we were basically developing and servicing the ad block recovery, we also discovered that there was a quite big discrepancy between what we measure as their traffic versus what they were telling us as their traffic. So when we, were gathering more data sets around these, we were kind of seeing the differences, and those kind of led us to believe that these were happening. So we kind of done the more research and gathered more data sets, and we published our industry's first ever dark traffic report last year, and that kind of unveiled really a surprising number of traffic that's really hiding in sight.
That's interesting. And that's amazing. I mean, nobody ever talked about this. I've never heard anybody talk about this. The dark traffic is a phenomenon. And this is new discovery. And the initiative that you guys have done to go look into, hey, there is a percentage of traffic that you're not even getting access to. And you're creating that content but consuming it, but you're not getting any value add and you don't even know that. So that's kind of a very shocking point. And I think in the days where search traffic is going down and traffic is actually going down for publishers, this is something that they would definitely want to look into. I'm curious on whether is this a global phenomenon or is this mostly in the US, or would you said like specifically the IT departments blocking, is that pretty common? Are there any service providers that you would name like, okay, these guys are primarily the providers of this
Yeah, I
technology?
mean, I wouldn't want to demonize any of the specific
Yeah, of
players, but I
course.
think that people definitely recognize their name. But it's really, I mean, you have to also understand that these are not by bad will, right? These are
Yeah,
not
it's not
done like
intentional.
the users of the app blocking services are regular people just like us, right?
Yeah,
Teachers, students, the police officers of the world. And, what we have seen is basically the fact that these are everywhere, right? If you install like Norton antivirus, for example, and if you install
okay.
any type of antivirus softwares, these days they will have some type of ad block kind of functionality built into them, right?
Interesting, to block malwares, which then
Yes,
blocks
for
everything.
sure. Yes.
Interesting.
That's one example of it. Obviously, there are specific app blocking tools that users install on Chrome or any of the browsers, right? And those intentions are pretty clear, right? So there's that population who kind of install kind of explicit app blockings. And I think that to be totally fair and honest, I think that YouTube kind of was one of the key drivers, to be honest,
Yeah,
of
of course.
people kind of installing the app blockers because people just didn't want to look at these videos of the pre-rolls and the mid-rolls.
Well, I'm a premium user. I haven't seen YouTube ads in years now. So I've never seen
Right.
YouTube ads like, or I think like probably in the last 5 years because you pay for it and they
Right.
never show you ads.
Yeah.
And so you're saying this is not just United States, it's
So
global.
this is, yeah, going back to your question, I think that this is definitely a global phenomenon. We do see, a high percentage of users or internet traffic on AppBlock in any type of geos. Obviously, it really varies across different geographies, but we do see pretty high percentage in European countries, especially given the GDPR and their focus on the, data privacy. We do see a high percentage. In the US, we do see a pretty meaningful percentage of the traffic on the app block. And even in Asia, I think that, one thing to point out is that, there is also a functionality of people using them to reduce the page loading speeds. I mean, we all understand, we're all in the ad tech space. I mean, ads do add up a few, milliseconds on the page loads, right? Because there's a, hundred thousands of requests going out, and the auctions are happening, in the behind, right? So I think that there's also function of that's been kind of driver of kind of the app blocking adoption.
Interesting. I'm curious, if I'm a publisher today, how do I know like what percentage of my traffic is getting blocked? Like, actually, I don't even know that that is a percentage of my traffic. So how much traffic can I actually recover? How do I know this? Is there a way for me to know, like, okay, how many page views of dark traffic do I actually have? And what's my revenue potential? What size of a publisher does this actually make sense for? Is it for long tail publishers, large enterprise publishers? Based on your understanding in the marketplace, you work with all kinds of publishers. Who should be thinking about this?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. I think that as a first step, I think that I encourage people to potentially, if they have the capability to do it, I would encourage them to take a look at the difference between what they are getting from kind of the external vendors like Google Analytics versus if they can basically log the stats from their server side. And if they can log it whenever they kind of get the visits or whenever they send out the request, I think that there should be a difference between those two. So that could be a, good indicator of what the potential delta might be. That being said, at AdShield, we do provide a measurement script where we can basically measure how much of the percentage of the web traffic is dark traffic for specific publishers. And we typically see, I mean, it really varies, but we've seen anywhere from, as low as 5% to high as 40-50% of some of the websites on the app block traffic.
Is
So
it
it
tied
really
to any
varies.
specific vertical? Any
Yes. In
verticals
the
or
in the
any?
in the in the tech vertical, it's high. Anything that is related to tech is generally higher. Kind of the male population V websites generally have higher ad block rates. And yeah, I mean, I think that anything related to IT stuff, I think generally have a higher ad block rate. And I think that's we've seen good amount of higher percentages on kind of the sports or car related websites as well.
Interesting. I have a question. So you said you give a measurement script. Does your script does not get blocked by the blockers? Do they not
So
recognize
we
you as
ensure
a?
that they are not. So we obviously we're not going to say never. We're not going to be so full transparency. Obviously, we do think that we have an ability to do it. That being said, we're trying to not go into the games of too much of a back and forth and whack-a-mole with some of the militant app blockers. So we generally think that we can detect anywhere from 60 to 80% of the dark traffic.
That might be more.
Yes.
I see. And are you able to only recover the 60 to 80%, or are you able to recover more?
Recover ads, you mean?
Yeah.
We can recover ads for all the traffic that we can detect.
So all the traffic that you can detect. So that is a good segue to talk about, like, how does your solution actually work? So how does a publisher work with you, and how can they benefit from AdShield? Like in this particular case, like you said, like, okay, you'll be able to provide or give insights into what percentage of their traffic is getting blocked, or essentially the dark traffic. And then how do they recover that traffic? How do they run ads on that traffic? How does your solution actually work?
Sure thing. I mean, I think that we are, full transparency, we are a dark traffic specialist, right? I mean, I think that there has been no one in the industry who's been kind of really laser focused on the dark traffic. And, I think that what we do is we provide the script that publishers can place on their website. And when they do that, how we do it is very simple. Number one, we detect whether these ad spaces are getting blocked or removed. And when we detect that, we will basically protect the ad spaces that were going to be either blocked or removed by the ad blockers. And when we detect that on those protected ad slots, we will basically rerun the entire publisher's ad stack. So we make sure that all the auctions that was supposed to happen on those slots to basically run again, so that the kind of the ads that were supposed to run on those slots can run on there and basically serve those ads on those protected ad slots. And this enables publishers to basically serve and address the ad block users that they have not been able to address, and thereby generating incremental revenue for the publishers.
Interesting. So, and again, all of this happens through your script.
That is correct.
And you're confident that your script is not getting blocked by the traffic vendors or anybody who's blocking this. You're able to bypass that and you're able to render the ads in that particular traffic.
Our target coverage at this point in time is 60 to 80%, and we've been seeing very consistent kind of the coverage of the ad block traffic and the dark traffic.
That's interesting. And so users have no idea, right? So for them, the user experience is like no different. They just come to the page and they see ads, and maybe they didn't see ads, and maybe they had like slightly better user experience. Is that what it is? So there's no consent from users, or they're not feeling like, okay, something new came to the page, or anything like that. For users, it's kind of like, are they indifferent?
They're pretty much indifferent. I would say that one very shocking number that we have seen is that, we've done an extensive research around this. What we have figured out is basically, number one, as I pointed out earlier, that a lot of these people, around 40 to 50% of these people, did not even have a choice to block ads. So it was not their decision to block ads. And number two, more surprisingly, a majority of these people are actually open to seeing the ads. And they are, they're actually tolerable to certain formats of the ads. So it is actually somewhat counterintuitive when you think about it at the first time. But if you think about it, most people understand that this is a fair value exchange between the content creators versus the consumption of these quality content, right? So most people understand that. Unless it's very much of a disruptive experience, most users are actually okay seeing the ads, unless it is super disruptive. And I think that's what we see in the data, right? When we serve ads to the ad block users or the dark traffic, we see a very similar kind of the returns or the performances on the dark traffic versus kind of the non-ad block users. And I think that that's a very compelling data sets to substantiate the fact that most of the users are actually open to seeing the ads.
That's interesting. And is this only programmatic thing? Like, is this only the banners that get removed? Like, what happens to, let's say I log into Facebook from one of these offices or corporate offices?
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Everything's getting blocked. Obviously, it depends on the environment, network, browsers, and etc. But like, if you think about it, when you go, probably I'm sharing a little too much tips for people, but like if you have ad blockers on and go to YouTube on your PC, you will not see the ads. Number two, if you go to Facebook or any of the websites, you will not see the ads. And this is even more global than you think. If you go to any of the kind of the e-commerce websites, and like, TripAdvisor or Expedia's of the world, all the sponsored listings are gone.
Wow.
Because of the ad blockers. So this is much wider than what people think. We estimate that there is about $200 to $300 billion of ad revenue missing because of the ad blockers. And this is the market that we would like to really help publishers kind of gain back and address this very target audience.
Right. And you mentioned however, Google search ads are exempt from this because they don't go through the same treatment as the banners. Is that
yeah,
true?
So it is a little bit more complicated. I don't want to go into too much detail around this, but it's mostly public information. So Google does have a program with the leading ad blockers of the world, and they're basically able to whitelist the search results or the search ads for the users of their own ad blockers. And number two, I think that for the search results or the search ads, a good more amount of ad blockers are actually a little bit more open to serving those ads versus blocking them because they think that this is a little bit more relevant for the users because users have searched for it, right? So I think that even for some of the more active ad blockers, they have set out a policy saying that they're kind of not going to block, flat out block these search ads because they believe that this is more relevant for the users, and they will give people the choice if they really would like to block these search ads. So I think that Google has kind of created. They're a little bit more insulated from the ad block traffic or the ad block tools from the search perspective, and you'd be surprised how much of that might turn into if you kind of turn into the number.
That's interesting. And do you believe, like, you mentioned e-commerce websites, so does that hit retail media too? Do you guys work with any retail media publishers?
So we've had discussions with the few players. We are currently not working on the retail media because we would like to be very much focused on the display ads and the programmatic ads at this point in time, but we do have an ambition to go in there. We have seen the kind of the demand from these retail media players, and we've seen how much of the revenue that is going missing. So yes, we think that there is a big market out there, and yeah, we plan to tackle that.
Yeah, I mean, I saw your anecdote about like how if the ad block business were separated from Google in Google, it would be the huge segment. I want you to explain that for the people, so we can show the graph when we actually
Sure.
show this. But that was a very interesting point, and nobody actually has like made this interesting insight about like Google. I mean, obviously, if ads were a utility and if it served the purpose and if it actually enhanced the user experience, which it does in social too, like in an Instagram, I can scroll through content. And if I see ads, I'm not really pissed because it's very much tailored to me. And sometimes I even discover products for that, right? So it's the
Sure.
same way for Google search where you're actually searching for something and the ads are almost utility. So, and they're okay with it. Like, I mean, and again, obviously it's Google, but talk about the anecdote that you shared with us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that anecdotally, I think that if you were to spin out kind of the ads or the kind of the revenue that is being kind of either whitelisted or that is basically kind of being impacted by the ad blockers, if you spend that out from Google, I think that that's I think that that amounts up to 19 to 20 billion dollars, which is going to be larger than most of the ad tech businesses in the world, right? And if you think about YouTube, for example, right? I mean, YouTube's I think if you think about the YouTube, I think that that is also, if you think about kind of if only 10% of the users are using ad blocks to block ads on the YouTube, that's going to be tens of billions of dollars of revenue every single year. So I think that to put things in perspective, I think that the big tech guys are losing tens of billions of dollars every single year on these ad block tools and ad blocking functionalities. And itself, I think, is a humongous number that people don't really realize in every day.
Interesting. Do you believe publishers warranted this by creating all these shitty bad experiences? Or do you think like there was a segment of publishing like open web publishers who created bad experiences for short-term revenue, which then impacted the entire open web? Or where do you think these ad block users come from, especially the ones that are voluntarily installing ad block? How are they growing? And I saw some graphs. You mentioned how people discover ad block. I want you to surprise the audience. Where do people learn about ad block? Is it
Yeah.
because of bad experiences on publisher sites, or how do they learn
Yeah,
about
I
it?
mean, I think it's just very interesting to think about it, right? Because the number one source of people installing ad blockers are from the ads itself, right? I mean, you'd be surprised when you go to like some of the websites, the ads for ad blockers are present and they're being served to the users on the publishers, right? I mean, or
Yeah,
by Google, right? And that's the number one driver of people installing ad blockers. So I think that it's kind of funny and also kind of sad that that is happening.
it's ad one.
And yeah, and number two, I think that it's truthfully, yes, I think that it's A big part of it is also, I think that we might have gone a little too much, right? With kind of the ad formats and the amount of ads and the quality of ads. I mean, I think that the ad fraud and malicious activities are still present. I think that, there's been just an increasing amount of kind of the ads that are kind of being served to the users. And I think that that kind of disrupted the user experience, right? So I think that as an industry, I think that we need to strike a balance. And I mean, that is our mission. I mean, our mission is to create and build and support ad supported web ecosystem. How do we do that? Is to basically making sure that users feel okay seeing these ads and they respect that publishers or the content creators are being supported financially by seeing the ads, right? And I think
Yep.
that there's a lot that we can do as an industry to serve more relevant ads. As you said, that more targeted ads for the users that would feel those are very relevant for them. And number two, kind of either restrict the number of ads or, making sure that we deliver the quality user experience for the end users.
Yep. I mean, the industry is shifting towards inventory quality. Yeah, as you know, like Trade Desk's initiatives, Sincera, and my friend Garrett's company, Gamera, they're all leaning towards like how do we improve or signal inventory quality to advertisers so that they can actually pay higher CPMs, get better value, which then hopefully should result in less number of ads or lower ad density, creating better ad experience or user experience for the end users.
Sure thing.
I think hopefully this will be in a direction that will help publishers. Do publishers, if they currently work with ad block recovery companies, do you guys recover more traffic for them? Because are you saying the current ad block companies who are recovering, they don't recover that traffic?
So, yes, we typically see, I mean, we have a full respect for the legacy players who have kind of paved the way for the app block recovery. There are a few players in the market. We have a full respect for them. But, I think that our tech is built differently. I think that our stuff is something that's been in development for a longer time period. And with the proprietary tech that we have, we've been seeing anywhere from 3 to 5 revenue that is being recovered through our tech versus the legacy solutions that's been out there in the market.
That's interesting. And what is like one of the important things that publishers are missing? I mean, you've been in conversations with publishers. This seems like a no-brainer for a publisher to like adopt because like their traffic's anyway going down. Would that? Why would they not prioritize this? Would this be more because they have more mobile traffic, and I don't know if it's meaningful, or is it because their audience segment is different? Um,
I think that's a great
what have you
question.
seen
I
with
think that
publishers?
I think that the number one thing that we still get is that I think that still there's a much of a very low awareness of the problem. I think that, whenever I talk to publishers and I talk to hundreds of publishers and they still think that it's a very small problem. They don't think that this is a big problem. They think that this does not affect them, or they think that this is the single digit percentage of their traffic, which is just not correct. And when you measure it, you find out how much it is, and they are very much surprised by how much of an impact this can have. And I think that that is why I think that more and more kind of reputable publishers and larger publishers have been starting to work with us because they've been hearing firsthand from their peers how much of an impact that they are getting. And they're basically realizing that this is a meaningful percentage of their traffic and potential uplift to their revenue.
That's amazing. So we'll go. This was a great conversation. I'll go into the parting wisdom section. What's one strategic bet you think publishers should make in 2026, whether it's regarding ad block recovery or anything else?
Yeah, I think that, apart from Haplot, kind of measuring or tackling the dark traffic, which I really encourage everyone to do. I think that really, I mean, it may be a little bit too generic, but I think that really in 2026, I think that people need to really own and focus on their own audience and really try their best to nurture that traffic and audience so that they actually can beat the AI. I think that that is certainly doable. I do believe in the open web still. and I'm very much bullish on it. I think that it brings the authenticity, the quality that AI cannot bring. And one thing that I would that highly encourage people is to basically kind of own your audience and build on it.
Yep, own your audience, have direct relationships. I mean, obviously, it doesn't seem like the publishers have choice anymore because if they have to survive and thrive, they're going to have to do this. Thank you so much for joining us, Dustin. This was a packed conversation with actionable insights. Appreciate your time and the clarity you brought to this conversation.
Really appreciate it. Thank you, Vijay.